Hey, everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Francis, Alonso, episode 9 of season 2 of Scream, The Orphanage. I don't even know where we're going now because
I don't think they know.
I was trying to parse the whole conversation of Zoe couldn't possibly have sent the email because it has her name on it. Then who would do that? And so I'm in circles as to whether or not I'm supposed to obviously think she's vindicated or obviously think she's not.
Yeah.
Does the fact that she had sex with Noah mean maybe that she's not faking it?
Well,
or?
for him, he's probably like, I don't care anymore.
Well, sure, yeah, no, he's not complaining, but...
Yeah. It's all right, so of course we are led to believe that the killer could do this and could hack into anyone's account. I mean, he's got into Emma's locker, no problem. Right. He seems to be finding ways. He's everywhere at some point, which obviously leads to the reason that he or she is not working alone because they're able to do things in the hospital when we have the guidance counselor freak out as Emma comes in, which again is their strongest storyline, but they are not focusing in on it as much as they could. I wish we could get in the room with the writers and be like, hey guys, you have something good here with Emma's paranoia. You could play on that, and then if you reveal that it happens to not be, we're not going to be disappointed because we kind of expected that anyway, but it is a good storyline to play with.
Sure.
Not the fact is that there could be 6 or 7 of them who could have done it. We have Stavo and we have Kieran kind of put into that situation a little bit with the previous episode, and it just comes to the point where...
Even Emma, frankly, at this point.
Exactly. You know. So it's like you could zone in on one particular potential killer and then have that big reveal at the end where you're like, I guess I could have put those pieces together. Right. But it seems like they're trying to portray too many.
And the killer is obviously a hell of a party planner.
Yes, no doubt.
In one day, having put together that incredibly elaborate rave at the abandoned orphanage and whatnot.
And I was waiting for someone to be killed during some dubstep. That was what we have or even if it wasn't dubstep. But we've had people be killed in every single facet of our millennials generation. Now we have someone killed to the rhythm of a beat. So.
Some EDM.
Yeah.
So now is the girl who died in this episode the one who faked the thing in the first episode in the theater? Okay, all right.
It's the one who Bibbs was saying that it's the typical character in every movie that you are supposed to hate, so that when they die, you're like, yes, you feel good that you actually are on the killer's side. You're like, finally. And by the way, they are definitely experimenting with how gruesome they can be without showing like the full extent of certain things. Like they had movement on her chest as her last breath was being taken as he went through like 6 or 7 strikes of his knife, and I was like, oh, this is like definitely a little bit graphic.
Yeah, the Foley Department is clearly like got these big just stacks of like chuck steak or something. Just
yes, no doubt. And then I guess the main storyline from this episode, which again highlights like it's been interesting the way they've been playing with things in this season. I think this episode's by far one of the worst, simply because they don't focus in on whatever is specific to the episode. Like, I really like the idea that people are starting to vindicate Emma because she has this past that just seems to be looked over, that she's been very aggressive to numerous different people. She's aggressive to Audrey in the corridor. And again, like that's obviously merited the way that Audrey's been acting. But it's no surprise that the guidance counselor would freak out when she sees Emma if she immediately pieces Emma with the killer and the fact that she was put into that situation.
And, the Audrey reveal should be a bigger thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, I think you could have squeezed at least an episode of Emma not wanting to talk to Audrey, not wanting to deal with Audrey. But instead now they're being forced back together by this mystery party thing. Yeah. And so they have to, like, work together even though Emma's still mad at her. It's like, I think there could have been more drama to be found in that rift, given how much that friendship certainly means to Audrey, you know.
It seems like they're focusing more on the rift between Noah and Audrey rather than focusing on what it means for Audrey and Emma. I mean, Emma has every right to be mad at that situation, and Audrey, of course, she was kind of trying to protect herself from facing that conversation by trying to find out who sent the email and everything else, which is just a way of beating around the bush rather than facing it head on.
Yeah, the actual, as we've learned with the DNC this week, it's not so much who got the emails, but is what's in the emails true?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and then Eli has been sort of absent this week. I don't know if that points a finger at him or if just that actor was having dental work that week. Or
that was kind of my theory about Emma's dad, the fact that we got introduced to him and haven't seen him in an episode in like 6. I'm like, Are they trying to be so obvious to the point that he has to be involved here, or are they just kind of irrelevant at this point?
Yeah. How red is my herring?
Yes,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. You know, and I guess I don't know what to make of the whole Brooke relationship.
She's obviously drawn. We talked about this before. Like, I think that she's drawn to that drama. She doesn't like to. I don't think that she likes to admit it as much. Like, she was interested in the teacher to the point where, okay, like she was intrigued by that barrier. Like, oh, am I doing something wrong?
Right.
Obviously, being sheltered by a parent that isn't exactly the model parent.
And now she's when she goes to the hotel after the conversation with her father, she's now in room 186.
Yes, exactly.
It's across
So
the hall, I
of
assume,
course,
from 187.
So I think that they are leading us to believe that Brooke is supposedly fallen into another dangerous situation, and Stavo has, I don't know if he has a right to be mad. Like, of course, it's close to home when your dad's the sheriff, but from what he has been portraying throughout this full season, yes, you are a potential killer.
Yeah,
right?
but it's also like, do we now have to start dismissing as the culprit any character who has this backstory thing thrown out? Like, does Eli's restraining order mean that now he's too obvious a thing?
Yeah.
Does Stavros' watching his friend die after shooting himself make him too obvious?
Yeah,
a thing,
unless
you know?
the writers are just trying to be like tongue-in-cheek, that obvious. Like, all right, we're going to give you 6 or 7 people who could easily be it,
Right.
depending their past, like, and then they're going to kind of throw someone in the mix that you maybe didn't think could be involved. I mean, at this point, I am curious to think, I'm forgetting her name, Zoe, sorry. I'm curious to think, like, is Zoe that the only kind of emotional connection that we have, I think, really between viewer and the show is Noah. Like, Noah's a very interesting character, so it would make sense if they were to portray her as maybe someone involved in order to, like, kind of make us, hit us in the feels when we're like, all right, Noah's finally found someone, one, that's taken his virginity after that was a long and rigorous process, and then two, he's starting to get that connection. It seems like he's choosing her over Audrey at times and believing her. That's a perfect fit for her to just turn her back on him and us to kind of feel for him.
By the way, teenagers, your first time having sex is not going to be like portrayed on Scream. Go watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It's probably going to be more like that.
And by the way, watching tons and tons of movies doesn't mean that you're immediately able to act that out.
No,
Who
no.
knows? But good for him.
There was something else on this. Savos and I don't know. It'll come back to me.
Yeah, but it's at the moment it's.
Oh, the Savos' comic book. Is it all close-ups?
Yeah,
Is every page just like somebody's face? Because that's all we ever see.
and that's what. And then obviously the sheriff is talking about the situation where they're questioning whether he is using using this experience to draw portraits or draw cartoons, which is actually affecting his decision making, because there was that situation we didn't know how long the kid was bleeding for before he died. So maybe like he's just a very, very graphic Picasso that likes to maybe just get up close and personal.
And
where
where is that mask? We
Yes.
still haven't determined that yet either.
we haven't.
The other thing, the thing that I was thinking about also about this show, and I've noticed it a lot in movies and TV in general. So I don't want to put Scream on blast for this, but in an age where so much of the information that gets passed around, you know, in law enforcement and government, all these things, where it's all on computers now, it's all in the cloud.
Yeah.
Movies and TV shows still love photographs and paperwork. Like, there's always files around with papers and photos, and it's like, you know, I think a lot of this shit isn't getting printed out.
Yeah,
it lives in the fucking database, and like, you know, but you got to have those like glossy photographs,
Yes,
not even
exactly.
like, you know, printouts. Like somebody developed this.
We're in a very eco-friendly time. There's no way they're using that
if
much
you don't
paper.
need it, don't print
Yes,
it.
exactly.
Think of the trees.
But then how it wouldn't be as dramatic as Starbo finding his dad's, I don't know, like information database rather than finding all this full fact file on him.
Yes.
He's got all these pages that
at some point somebody's going to have to figure out sort of the modern way to portray this stuff cinematically interesting. It's like in the way that nobody has an answering machine anymore.
Yes.
But there's always that scene of somebody listening to the messages being left to the phone they didn't pick up, and you know, whatever.
Funny. But again, it's not my favorite episode. I think that I think this would be a great 10 episode season, sorry, because I think that they would have been able to have the perfect this episode, and then the next one would have been a perfect time to actually condense a few things and give us somewhat of a reveal. But it seems now that they have 3 episodes left to try and portray something that's gonna, because in the next episode I imagine they're gonna give us a trail to another potential candidate that is a little bit more from amidst the pack. I mean, I actually thought that Haley could have been the one. We were talking about how she was so engrossed by the Lakewood Six that she wanted to be part of it.
Oh, that's true.
But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
she's immediately taken out the picture because we have her killed. So it's, I think that it's they're not I would have liked to have seen them potentially rush to run it because maybe we've been running out of time rather than having too many episodes to fit it in.
Yeah, and it's not that the show necessarily always has to be plot. I mean, that ayahuasca episode is almost this kind of standalone that you could. I mean, some things happen and some things are revealed, but for the most part, you could almost take it out and it's just this freestanding thing. But it was still interesting and it illuminated things about the characters. And this one just kind of feels more like, yeah, we gotta fill time until we get to the last, because I'm sure the next to last episode and the last episode are going to be like things and stuff and whatever, you know.
Reveals,
But getting there is apparently going to be a bit of a trek. So, all right, we'll be back next time. Hopefully, Bibbs will have recovered from Comic-Con and join us. So we'll see you then.